Welcome to stage 7 of the Critérium de Dauphiné, and it's been an action-packed stage so far in the high mountains. We started in the village of Saint-Martin-le-Villou, heading up to the ski station at La Plagne. That ski station is at the end of a 17-kilometer climb averaging 7.5% gradient. But things got started early on the Col du Pré because Jean-Marie Caillou, the Euskaltel-Euskadi leader in 4th place overall, launched a surprise attack and took some dangerous riders with him, including Rodolfo Lucci and Ibai Leida. They had a gap of over a minute at one point, but it was closed down near the top of the climb. But Caillou then won the sprint for the King of the Mountains points. And that was an ore category rated climb, so he scored a lot of points in that. It is now all of a sudden a contender to win that jersey, depending on how this final climb goes to La Plagne. But anyway, we're back with the 49 rider peloton. Things came back together on the descent and we're near the start of La Plagne. AlphaTauri and Euskaltel-Euskadi are the teams in control. Yevgeny Balashkov has a good advantage over Hippolyte Toutain, and he is a teammate in 3rd place in Luis Sancho, so he's in a very strong position. And as long as he's not attacked relentlessly from the start of this climb, things can stay under control, he has a great chance to defend his yellow jersey today. In the following stage tomorrow, which goes up and over the Col de Joux-Plin, a little bit more suited to Yevgeny Balashkov. So this is really the challenge for AlphaTauri today, to get out of this stage with the yellow jersey, keep riders like Manuel Navarro under control. And you can see Hackett really want to set things up for Navarro because they've got 5 riders near the front of this peloton. Rico Rudiger, the lone representative for Euskaltel-Euskadi, is being a very good teammate after losing time early in the race. Now dedicated himself to helping Jean-Marie Caillou. And of course they tried that move earlier on the Col du Pré, didn't quite work, but they will try again on La Plagne. But you can tell the pace isn't all too high because a lot of riders are still in this group after 4 or so kilometers of climbing. Jeff Cooper doing his work as a domestique for Yevgeny Balashkov. But the riders really just staring at each other at this point, waiting for somebody to launch the first move. So once the first attack goes, I think things will really explode from there. But with Cooper and Rudiger still here, it's not happened quite yet. But the rider to watch here is Manuel Navarro. So he was one of the aggressive riders yesterday, but he cracked near the end. He lost a couple of minutes. He really needs to make up for that today. There's the 10 kilometers to go banner. And these climbers starting to run out of kilometers here because this is their best chance to attack Balashkov. They need to make something happen and make it happen pretty soon. There's Carlos Nello, candidate to win the stage. If he wants to win, he needs to do it by himself from a long-range move. He needs to not wait, and he's not waiting. He's got the wheel of Manuel Navarro, who's launched the first big attack on this climb. A Kyoto rider has gone with them. It's Ibai Leida, Kelvin Moore, Chung-Ling Shen. I saw Ileana Pavlova, and I think Luis Sancho was the AlphaTauri rider. Balashkov has not reacted. He's still in that group of 25, around a minute behind. These riders trying to bridge up to Navarro and Nello. I want to see the situation behind with Balashkov. Has he started chasing? Pavlova overcooked herself, so she's been dropped out of that front group. And look, Balashkov has been dropped by another group, and he's not really chasing, so I don't know what's going on. But in the meantime, the Kyoto riders and the Euskaltel riders are bridging across this gap. So this is the first real big selection here in the mountains of today's stage. Just over a dozen riders still here, but the yellow jersey is not one of them, and that is a really big surprise. And at least Luis Sancho is still here for AlphaTauri, but he needs to gain time on Hippolyte Toutain. Because the way things are now, Toutain would be the new race leader at the finish. Wilmer Rodriguez, the teammate of Caillou, is still here, but he's looking very tired. Not in good enough condition to try and drop some of these other riders by pace making alone. And now they're starting to stare at each other. Nobody really wants to attack. Or maybe they can't attack, they might be too tired. Because those efforts a few kilometers ago really take a lot out of the legs. But now it's VeloTour with Sumi Kim and Chungling Shin. They've done nothing all day, but now it's their time to try and put everybody else to the sword. Ling Shin really suffered yesterday. He lost a lot of time, but he's in his element now. He's just put himself on the front and says, if you follow me, fine. If you can't, get out of my wheel. Into the last 2Ks. 8 riders still here. We might get a sprint at the top of La Plania. Ling Shin will start it. He's got Navarro, Nello, and Caillou up there. And one of the Natalia riders, but Ling Shin going clear, and he should survive and win the stage. VeloTour get their second stage win of the Dauphiné with Ling Shin on a big mountain stage. A bit of redemption after his shortcomings yesterday. Rodolfo Lucci made a very good attempt again, second place. Was still looking for that elusive first win. But the real drama is in the fight for the yellow jersey today. Toutant, about 1 minute and 25 seconds down. Not bad, could have been worse, could have been better. He could be the race leader though. We'll have to see the gap between him and Luis Sancho. Pavlova, who was so strong yesterday, really suffered. She loses over 2 minutes. But where on earth is Yevgeny Volashkov? We're over 3 minutes now and he's in this group just freewheeling it. The gruppetto has formed and the yellow jersey inexplicably is in this group. I don't know what happened. Maybe he just let Luis Sancho go for it on his own and he's saving himself, but it just makes no sense at all. And Dizak, probably more bewildered than I am, to be honest, because there's no reason at all for Yevgeny Volashkov to not try and defend his lead. Well, he'll make a show of a sprint to the finish line, almost 8 minutes down. So that is a big shock to AlphaTauri, who were in total control of this race. Things looked great for Yevgeny Volashkov to win the Dauphiné, and then inexplicably he sits up after being attacked on the climb. In 8 minutes after finishing behind the leaders, well, he's really out of it now if you ask me. But that shouldn't detract from the stage winner, Ling Shin. We'll take a look at the results and all the riders he finished ahead of now. Rodolfo Lucci was in second place for Natalia, given a 3-second time gap. Jean-Marie Caillou in third at 15 seconds. And after a rough couple days in the time trial and the mountain stage yesterday, Caillou is all of a sudden a big challenger. We'll have to see what his time gap is to the race leader. Luis Sancho is in fourth at 20 seconds, same time as Manuel Navarro. Carlos Nello in sixth place at 24 seconds. I think he waited too long to attack. Took himself out of the stage win. Another good day off for Joaquin Pinto of Natalia, who helped his leader Kelvin Moore to a respectable finish. So those two were 7th and 8th. Wilmer Rodriguez of Euskaltel Euskadi 9th at 1 minute 3 seconds. And Sumi Kim of VeloTour is in 10th place at 1 minute 14 seconds. General classification once again undergoing major changes. There's only one more stage after this one. So we'll have to see what will happen in the final act and who the big players will be. Your new leader is Luis Sancho of AlphaTauri. He leads by 7 seconds over Hippolyte Toutant. And that is a great position for him to be in, because on paper, he is the better climber. So his big challenge should come from the rider in third place. Jean-Marie Caillou of Euskaltel Euskadi ascends up to third, and he's only 8 seconds down. So I think those two will have a big battle amongst themselves to win this race on stage 8. And the rest of the contenders and pretenders, Kelvin Moore in 4th place at 55 seconds. He's ridden well the last 2 days. It's a high place to show for it. Manuel Navarro of the 5th at 1 minute 24 seconds. Rodolfo Lucci had a great performance today. He's now in 6th place. Carlos Nello is 7th. Ilyana Pavlova down to 8th. Ling Shin up to 9th place, and Ibai Lida is in 10th. After that disastrous performance by Yevgeny Volashkov, he's now in 15th place, 6 minutes and 7 seconds behind Luis Sancho. In the points classification, Jerome Loiken, he hasn't scored since stage 2, but that doesn't really matter now, I guess, because he still leads with 45 points, but he could still lose the jersey on stage 8. That competition, very much undecided because 5th place is Luis Sancho, just 7 points behind. And Arnaud Deschamps and Diana Stephenson, the 2 breakaway artists, in the frame as well. That's going to be a very interesting thing to watch tomorrow. In the mountains classification, Jean-Marie Caillou is the new leader. Once these big categorized climbs came on the route, well, see what happens in that competition. The climbers are now the ones challenging for that jersey. Rodolfo Lucci up to 2nd and Manuel Navarro 3rd, 5 points behind Caillou. And in the team classification, Natalia, they had 3 riders in the first 8 to the finish today, and that will get them the lead in the team classification ahead of Kyoto. They lead by 4 minutes 23 seconds. That should be a realistic target for them to try and win that at the end of stage 8. So another consequential mountain stage, and it's given us another new leader in Luis Sancho. Same team, different rider, and he will try and defend that on stage 8, the final stage of the Dauphiné. Hippolyte Toutain just 7 seconds behind, and Jean-Marie Caillou just 8 seconds behind, so a 3-way battle for the final yellow jersey, and a 500-point bonus for those team standings. So the race will have its final chapter tomorrow, hopefully a big climax in the fight for all these classifications, because they're very much all undecided. So tune in and find out. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time for the 8th and final stage.